Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today we're going to be talking about the 10 best plants to propagate before winter. Okay, so I feel like propagating is literally the gardener's best kept secret. It is a very easy way to get free plants, and what gardener doesn't like free plants? And I really only started learning about propagating the last few years, and I was amazed at how quickly I was successful for it. So I think this is an excellent way for new beginners to get going on new plants, but also for those tried and true gardeners who've been doing this for years to learn a little bit more and share some of their good knowledge. All right, so I'm out on the front porch today, but that also means that there's some mowers and some all kinds of stuff going on. So lots of busyness going on out here. Actually, I'm wondering, is today my lawn day? We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So I've tried propagating a lot of things, and after this particular video where we're going to talk about the 10 best plants for propagating, in my opinion, I am going to be doing a series of videos where I'm going to show you how to propagate each of those varieties. And fall and early winter is the perfect time to propagate, which I love because you're going into a time of the year where there's not a lot of growth and green and such going on, and it gives you the opportunity to bring that green and that growth indoors during the darkest, deepest parts of the year. All right, so why propagate now? Cooler temps. Cooler temps and weather reduces the stress on the plants. It's really hard to propagate off of a plant, especially in my area during the heat of the summer. That plant is constantly stressed all day, so most likely it's not going to do as well for propagating. Also at this time of the year, cuttings root faster and are stronger before winter dormancy. Once the plants go dormant for winter, if you try to bring those in and you try to propagate those, you basically have to pull them out of dormancy and then get them to propagate. So it's a way harder process. And at this time of year, you can overwinter cuttings indoors or in a protected space for an early start next spring. It's such a great way to just have a bunch of plants for free and ready to go in early spring. All right, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. What are, in my opinion, the 10 best plants to propagate? Now, obviously, this is based off of my garden and what I like to grow in Texas Zone 8. So if you're in Zone 5, Zone 4, Zone 7, and other parts of the world, your propagation plants might be a lot different from mine. All right, number one on my list is Swedish ivy. And this is a plant that I've recently become obsessed with because I love to utilize it in my shade garden and in some hanging planters. I do theorize that I'm going to be utilizing a lot more of it on my front garden this year. So the method for propagating Swedish ivy is stem cuttings in water or soil. A lot of the propagation process is going to be either water propagation or soil propagation. A good tip for Swedish ivy for propagating, it roots within 1 to 2 weeks very quickly. So overwinter indoors in bright light. Typically bright light is going to be grow lights or near a window. Why Swedish ivy is a good plant to propagate? It's a fast grower. It's lush trailing plant and perfect for hanging baskets or porch planters. And that is definitely the direction I'm going to be going with it, incorporating it more into my shade garden, my hanging planters on the back porch, and more containers on my front porch. Now, there are a wide variety of Swedish ivies. I happen to really love variegated Swedish ivy, but there's a couple of different varieties that you can choose from. And they're just lush, green, bright, and a great plant to have throughout the entire season here in the North Texas area. Okay, I'm scratching my leg a little bit because I got poison ivy. You know, when I was cleaning out the poison ivy a couple of weeks ago, got poison ivy, still doing it. It's way better than my husband, Jeff, because apparently when we were cleaning out the poison ivy, he must have reached back and scratched his back, and he has poison ivy across his back. Okay, number 2 on my list is dragon wing begonias. And I've been growing dragon wing begonias once again, primarily in my shade areas. And I love dragon wing begonias because of their really elaborate leaves. I think they're absolutely beautiful. So the method for dragon wing begonias is to take 4 to 6 inches of soft wood cuttings and root directly into moist soil. A tip for growing them or propagating them is mist them often and avoid cold drafts indoors. And most of my cuttings I have tucked into my grow room, which is my dining room, and it is definitely away from where the cool airflow would go when we're opening doors during the winter. Why you should be propagating this particular begonia. It's long blooming and perfect for shade containers, and they come back full and lush when restarted in the spring. And I also feel like begonias, especially the dragonwing begonias, can be a little pricey, but I'm obsessed with them. So being able to restart them, propagate them, and grow them free every year, it saves me a ton of money in my garden. Okay, number 3 on my list is Tradescantia, and this once again also goes back to my shade gardens. And I found that shade garden plants are really expensive, so you'll hear me propagating a lot for shade gardens because of that. What method works best with Tradescantia for propagation is you want to snip stems, remove the lower leaves, and root in water or soil. A tip for that propagation is keep it warm and in a bright area, and you want to pinch for bushier growth. And I find that Tradescantia grows very quickly, and I had to pinch it several times in order to keep it in check before I was able to plant it out in March. Why you should be propagating Tradescantia. It's a beautiful foliage plant that thrives in the heat, and it's perfect for borders or pots. And I grow it in my shade garden. I also grow it in some hanging baskets. And then a lot of this propagation I want to do for these shade plants is also going to be utilized on my back porch planters, which I usually purchase plants for those. So I'm really looking at the opportunity to not have to purchase this next year. Kind of obsessed with my pumpkins. They're so pretty. Okay, number 4 on my list is coleus, and I propagate coleus and I also grow it from seed. I think either method is fine, whichever works best for you. What method of propagation works best for coleus is soft stem cuttings in water or moist soil, and I have done water and soil, and I've had good luck with both of them. A tip for propagating coleus is take from the non-flowering shoots. So you don't want any of them that have gone as far as to flower, because that means they're creating seed, and that means that they're focused elsewhere. So that stem is not going to be as strong. You want to overwinter them indoors near a bright windowsill or near grow lights. And I think coleus is a great opportunity to put in your windows and have some beautiful foliage indoors during the winter. Why you want to propagate coleus. In the North Texas area, coleus cannot survive the frost. As soon as we get anywhere close to a frost, all the coleus will be dead in a heartbeat. So this is how you keep your favorites alive year to year, but also enjoy them throughout the winter. Now you probably noticed that I'm just kind of doing some general plants. I'm not getting too specific on the varieties, and that's because a lot of these plants have multiple varieties, and typically most of them work well for propagating. All right, number 5 on my list is salvia. The method for salvia is to take 3 to 4 inch semi-woody cuttings and root them in a soil or perlite mix. Tip, you want to mist them lightly and keep them covered with plastic, like a cellophane, or you can put like a plastic dome on top of it until the roots form. You don't want the salvia leaves to dry out. If they dry out, they will not be able to pull energy in order to be able to produce those roots. Why salvia is great for propagation. It is a pollinator magnet that thrives in the Texas sun. More salvias equals more bees and butterflies. And I'm really thinking about, I've got some black and blue salvia in the back that I'm really thinking that I'm going to take do some propagating with, because I would like to see a whole swarm of those in my back garden next season. All right, number 6 on my list is lantana, and I did do lantana this last year, and I really struggle with mealybugs. So one of the big things is this next year I'm going to really teach you all about cleaning your cuttings prior to bring them in your garden, so that you do not spread bugs throughout your seedlings and everything that's going on in your grow rooms. Yeah, I did not get on top of that in time, and that was unfortunate. So the method for propagating lantana is to cut a 4-inch stem, remove the lower leaves, dip in rooting hormone, which I actually found works really good for lantana, and plant in moist soil. A tip for propagating lantana is keep cuttings just barely moist and warm. Lantana very quickly rots if it's overly moist. And why you want to propagate lantana: it is a heat and drought tolerant plant, great for big swaths of color. And I definitely did a lot more this last year. I did a lot more lantana cuttings than I really needed. I really just needed like 6 total. So I am going to try to be more diligent about this next year when I'm propagating. I'm not going to propagate tons and tons of plants because I found come January and February, I was just out of room. Like I did not have room and I couldn't take any of this stuff outside yet. So I want to make sure that I am diligent about keeping it to a minimum of what I need. Okay, number 7 on my list is rosemary. And this is a time of year where we start seeing a lot of rosemary and such in the garden centers as they're preparing for Christmas. And I think this is an excellent opportunity to purchase one of those rosemary plants, to give away, but maybe take a couple of snips off of it and do some propagating with it before. The best method for rosemary propagation is to take a 3-inch semi-hardwood cuttings. You want to strip the lower leaves and root in damp soil, and I have found that it roots fairly easily. A tip for propagating rosemary is provide bottom warmth or grow lights if indoors. And why you want to propagate rosemary: it's aromatic, evergreen, and tough, an easy herb to multiply. And it is very tough, and it does very well in these particular areas unless we get incredibly severe cold weather. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen sometimes. Okay, number 8 on my list is lamb's ear, and this is kind of propagation, but also kind of division. The best method for it is to divide mature clumps or root leaf cuttings. And dividing a lamb's ear plant out is super easy. Every time I've divided it, I've literally gotten like 6 plants from one division, and it really kind of breaks off very easily. And you can take just one little leaf node of leaves with a little bit of roots attached and create so many more plants from it. Okay, a tip for propagating lamb's ear is do this before your frost, before it begins to go dormant. It does typically stay a little evergreen throughout the season. I don't usually get my lamb's ear to die back unless we have very severe cold weather, but you want to go ahead and propagate it before the cold weather sets in so you have nice healthy leaves to work with. And you want to overwinter in pots of soil, and making sure that the soil is not heavy and that it drains really well, because the lamb's ear can rot. Why you want to propagate lamb's ear: it has a soft silver foliage and adds texture and thrives in Texas summers beautifully. It is stunning. There's nothing else like it, and it really adds a lot of contrast to your gardens. And I found that over the years, as I've continued to propagate lamb's ear and move it around my garden, it's just lovely. Everywhere you put it just brightens the entire space. Okay, number 9 on my list is creeping Jenny. And creeping Jenny is something I haven't grown a lot of in the past, but recently when I've been growing it, I've been very impressed at how well it roots. So I'm really excited to give this a try for propagating this year. A good method for propagating is to just do a simple division or take stem cuttings. You can divide the creeping Jenny plants. Quite frequently, its vines will reach out, and where the vine touches the ground, it'll put down new roots. So a lot of times you can go in and cut and then take those little seedlings where it's put down new roots and then make multiple plants out of it. A tip for propagating creeping Jenny is to keep it moist until established. And that means basically it needs to be under a humidity dome until you see roots start to appear. If the leaves dry up on the creeping Jenny, they won't be able to help the plant produce roots. And this is great for containers or borders. So why should you propagate creeping Jenny? It's a bright chartreuse foliage. It spreads fast and looks amazing spilling over edges and plants. And this, once again, is one of those plants that I like to utilize in my shade garden, in my shade containers, and on my back porch. Okay, and finally, number 10 on my list is Mexican bush sage, which I have a love-hate relationship with it. I think it's a beautiful plant. The problem is it takes all season for it to produce any flowers. However, I would like to utilize it when I dig my new back garden. I think it's a great, beautiful plant, especially when there's not a lot of stuff blooming. The issue is it's just not super attractive until you get to the fall. So what method works well for propagating for Mexican bush sage is to take a 6-inch semi-woody cuttings, remove the flowers, and root in moist mix. These root better in larger containers, in my opinion. A tip for propagating it is to overwinter in a bright indoor window or under grow lights. And like I said, I'm going to have some videos coming up where I'm going to be showing you how to propagate each of these varieties of plants step by step, making it super easy for you to follow along. And why you should propagate Mexican bush sage is it's a fall blooming stunner. It is absolutely gorgeous. It has these beautiful purple white blooms that almost look like velvet. Gorgeous. Hummingbirds love it, and it is a great way to fill your fall garden for free. Propagating is definitely something I wish I had realized earlier, and now I look back over all the years of gardening and think, why did I go buy another one of that particular plant when I really just could have taken some cuttings and grown it myself? And with prices the way they are, having the opportunity to propagate a few plants gives me an opportunity to, one, save the money, or two, spend it on some plants that I can't propagate, which is very exciting. So a few things about overwintering tips, because you might have been really inspired by what I was chatting about, and now you're like, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to just start getting some cuttings and propagating. So a few overwintering tips. You want to use grow lights or bright windowsills. Typically the windowsill south facing is really great because it gets consistent light throughout the entire day. You want to keep soil slightly moist but not soggy. If you keep it soggy, the stems that you put in will rot before they have the opportunity to put on any root growth. You also want to pitch back occasionally to encourage branching. I have found specifically with the Swedish ivy, the lantana, and the tradescantia, I had to pinch back 4 times before I was able to finally get those outside. They grew like crazy. So pinching back keeps them nice, bushy, but also keeps them from getting overwhelmed inside when you are overwintering them. And then finally, you want to transition plants outdoors slowly in the spring. It's just once again, you want to harden them off, bring them out a little bit at a time, allow them to acclimate to the climate before you plant them outside. Okay, so propagation is garden's best kept secret. It's creative, it's relaxing, it's rewarding. It gives you something to do over the winter for free, which is amazing. And the plants that you start now will be your head start for next spring's blooms. Free plants, free plants. Who doesn't want free plants? What gardener doesn't want free plants? So I'm really excited to get started on some propagating for this season. One of the other things I wanted to mention is reach out to your local gardening friends. See what they have that you can propagate as well. You guys can trade cuttings. Awesome. Even more free plants and even more variety within your yard. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, you all, I want you to drop a comment below. Let me know what you are propagating, if you've ever even tried propagating, and what you think propagates the best in your area. Be sure to let us know what zone you're in so we know if you're, living it up in the heat of this North Texas fall, or if you're up north and already experiencing snow, because I definitely have some gardeners who have already experienced some flurries and some freezing temps already. All right, you all, before we end, make sure you check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. I would love for you to go check it out. There is a free tier and there is a single paid tier now. The single paid tier gets you access to everything, including lives, exclusive videos, photo sharing, group chats. It's a great group of people. I would love for you to come check it out. And I would love for you to travel along with us on your gardening journey, learning and sharing with everyone else. All right, you all, as always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.